Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is Saturday night, and it is time for the Wrestlemaniacs to give it to you all the way live, all the way straight. Girls, children of all ages. 3,000 megawatts of wrestling power. We coming to do it to you in your ear hole. To give it to you all the way live, all the way straight. Who got their phone up loud?
I want you to hear it. I want you to hear that love.
I want to hear all that.
I want you to hear all that good love making.
We got the Nubian Sumo James already sparking up.
Man, I don't know about this one. So I'm gonna let y'all know right now. It's about to be some fuckery up in here. And I don't know where it's gonna come from. I don't know when it's gonna happen.
Well, obviously you didn't go
it's going to happen.
Class because most of the effery normally happens in the lower region.
And of course, we got the people's choice, Don Rodriguez.
I'm not.
Happy 4th of July.
Whoa.
I know the Nubian Sumo. Wait a minute, hold on.
We don't do that here. We don't do that here.
Bro.
Give me a second. You know, I'm just trying to say
because people has already started. You see? This is what I'm talking about.
People are going to be what they do. So I took the time today to go ahead and break out my apron. And just to let the Nubian Sumo know, for this one episode, I do have pants on. But, you know, this is my Lord Vader apron. So, you know, representing for all the dark side in this podcast. As, you know, a lot of people are going to be getting their num-nums on sometime tomorrow.
I got my num-nums on June 19th.
There you go. Because not this guy.
Hey, I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, be festive for the occasion, okay? Some of y'all may have a day off, James, on Monday. KG, I don't know.
I took the day off. I took what I wanted.
Some of us is working tomorrow, so I just wanted to wear my apron since I won't get to wear it tomorrow. How about that? See, that's all it was.
That's fine. But see, I don't get the day off. I took what I wanted.
Now, what I didn't show y'all
was
sound familiar.
And what was under the apron, if I lift it up, is my new pal. Oh, snap. It's Uni the Unicorn.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And all that technicolor glory. Look at that. Uni the Unicorn.
I'm going to say something. It looked it looked like if you would have put that under your apron, it looked like you would have had a hard on. That wouldn't have been too good. It's a family show.
This is a family show. We can't do any of that stuff. The only number James knows is 2s, and we're not trying to you know, get me connected to the 2. So
no, you can't me too fornicating a unicorn.
Whoa. So talk about turning left field real quick. I don't know.
What you do with a unicorn is between you and that unicorn. I have nothing to do with that.
I'm not getting in trouble with the dreaded World Wildlife Federation, PETA, National Geographic. So the thoughts of
if anybody has a problem with
not those.
If anybody has a problem with you and that unicorn, it's going to be probably the New Day. I'll let them handle that, especially now since they are happy being the greatest tag team in WWE history.
That's like
whatever that means.
We know who the greatest tag team is.
The Road Warriors.
The Killer Bees.
Starting early with the bullshit.
Yo, man. The Killer Bees, greatest tag team in existence.
Can we move on? Can we get into this plate?
So I guess we got to talk about some stuff this week. Apparently, somebody that wrote the production notes decided to include the Nubian Sumo. But before we do that, and you know his role, he only got one job. Let's go ahead and entertain him into what he's drinking and what he's smoking. So you go ahead and tell us what your deal is.
Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Nubian Sumo is being powered by the Onyx Nicaragua Bold.
Dang.
And we're also going to attempt to finish off the Michener's Rye. You see how low that bottle is. We kind of try to put it out as misery tonight.
That's because you're an alcoholic, but we're not going to talk about that. Your intervention will come soon.
Hey, look, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't go to no fucking meetings, okay? I'm a drunk.
It's a kid show. Sometimes we got to tell you.
Wait,
we got to pay for that.
Time out. What? James, I was about to come to your rescue because you can't call them alcoholics. Alcoholics quit.
Yeah.
He's a drunk.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, tell Willie the Wino he's got a segment.
I'm not a quitter.
Willie the Wino.
Well, don't we? What are you sponsored by tonight? Oh, you sponsored by Star Wars.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
He's sponsored by fuckery. That's what it is. The word of the day, fuckery.
Well, I'm sponsored by Pure Leaf Tea.
Yes.
Extra sweet. Get what you need, baby.
And by sponsored, we really aren't getting paid for any of this stuff. So
none of it.
That's why I never say sponsored. I say powered by. Because this keeps me going.
Powered, sponsored.
You got a segment, man.
And I'm getting ready to start it if you shut the hell up.
So we know where most of the bottle went today, and that was, down your gullet. So obviously you're feeling
where it always goes, yeah.
Yep. So you go ahead. What's up with the t-shirt before you jump in? Make sure you get all your little spots in.
Now, for those that are into sports, as I know KG is, he would most likely recognize the numbers across my chest. So I'll give him a moment to marinate on that.
Oh, I don't need to marinate. I already know.
I just wanted to go ahead and let you have a moment. That's probably the best that they'll ever have. But go ahead. What are you going to say, James?
This is the commemorative shirt that was made by a group that I told you all about before, the Roaring Riot, which is the official, unofficial fan group of the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the commemorative shirt that they made for the Super Bowl blunder the Atlanta Falcons made against the New England Patriots, where they gave up a 25-point lead at halftime and gave up the Super Bowl and the Lombardi Trophy. Mm-hmm. And being that they are our so-called rivals, same division, and I've never worn this shirt before. I figured I'd pull this shirt out today just for shits and giggles.
Just for the holiday. Wow. We're so appreciative. So appreciative. Obviously, I'm going to get in trouble today.
Go ahead. Thank you. I love it. This tea keeps me going. I can't do like James. I don't have the stomach for it anymore, so I got to drink tea.
So, obviously the Borden's on, so that means I have to lose the shirt now. That was the bet. But I can keep the apron on though. How about that?
I can take my pants and my shirt off. I ain't got to worry about none of that.
Oh, snap. You go ahead on your little staycation. James, can you do your That's Just Nubian segment? Even in the ticker, it says wrap it up, B.
To get started, and we need to be reverent at this moment because we have a death in the wrestling family.
You said reverent, KG. He actually got serious for a moment. You over here partying. So I'm just going to go.
So Dale Wilkes, who wore a mask and went under the name The Patriot, has passed away. He was a fixture within WCW and within the WWE at one point. A very patriotic wrestler, a face. Was the Dark Patriot at one time within the WCW, if I'm not mistaken, but was mainly a babyface, a very technical wrestler, a very good wrestler, and very liked and well known amongst the wrestling community. So we pretty much lost him here recently, and we mourn his passing at the beginning of this segment. So we want to recognize that before we get started.
Absolutely.
Now, to start out, I just want to say that we, as you all probably know, we haven't had a That's So Nubian segment in about 2 months. A lot of things have happened, and a lot of things are now irrelevant since we've passed so much time. So I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of backstory. What I'll do is I will go into a rundown of who the champions are and what pay-per-views will be coming up for these different organizations. And if any storylines fit within what I need to speak on, then I will bring that up. So to start out, we're going to start with Ring of Honor, where the world champion is still Roosh. Tony Deppen won the television championship, of which I did mention at one point. Jonathan Gresham is still the pure champion. Rhett Titus and Tracy Hot Sauce Williams are the tag team champions, both of them within the group for Foundation, which is with Jonathan Gresham. The Shane Taylor Promotions tag team is still the 6-man tag team champions, and the women's title is still vacated at this time. They are still looking to have a world title tournament for the women sometime this summer. They have not set a date for that yet, but there are names that are starting to come up as being part of that tournament. As so far, we have Angelina Love, Roxy, ROK-C, Miranda Alizé, Trish Adore, Allison Kay, Maserati, Willow, Mandy Leon, Nicole Savoy, Max the Impaler, and Alex Gracia. Alex Gracia, you probably recognize from being on AEW Dark or AEW Evolution,
right?
One of those shows. Now, the next pay-per-view for Ring of Honor will be Best in the World, which will be in Baltimore on July 11th. Their pay-per-view. The World Championship will be defended as Roosh will defend against Bandito. Tony Deppen will defend the television title against Dragon Lee. There'll be a grudge match between Brody King of Violence Unlimited and Jay Lethal of the Foundation. EC3 will be wrestling Flip Gordon, who recently had a tag team match. They had a tag team match together, and Gordon turned on EC3 recently, so they'll be having a match together. Josh Woods, who was at one time the protege of Silas Young, they will be going up against each other in the last man standing match. Shane Taylor Promotions will be defending the 6-man tag team belts against Dak Draper, Eli Isom, and Dalton Castle. And depending on who wins the match on the next television taping between Jonathan Gresham and Fred Yehi, they will be going up against Mike Bennett for the Pure Championship. So that's it for Ring of Honor. Moving on, we'll go to MLW, where they will be having a pay-per-view here not necessarily a pay-per-view, but they'll start doing their live shows again here very soon. They are going to have their first show in the 2300 Arena on July the 10th, which they will call a Battle Riot, which is their version of a battle royal. It's like a cross between a street fight, a Royal Rumble, and a Battle Royal. So they'll have 40 guys who will be in the ring together, and they'll all be vying for the number one contendership for the world title. The world title currently still being held by Jacob Fatu. You have LA Park and Hijo de LA Park, who is the tag team champions. Myron Reed, who within the last month has won back the middleweight championship, and Alex Hammerstone, who is the first and only open weight champion who's held that belt for almost 2 years now. The Battle Riot, like I said, will be July 10th at the 2300 Arena. At this point, they have added to the card, to that Battle Royal rather, Alex Hammerstone, King Muertes, who was Mills Muertes in Lucha Underground, Mads Kruger, Richard Holiday, TJP, Myron Reed, Calvin Tankman, Gino Medina, a lucha wrestler named Ares, Kevin Koo, who is part of the Team Filthy, Savio Vega, EJ Induka, which is one of the guys who got released from WWE NXT, Lee Moriarty, who is who's an indie darling right now, who's one of the guys who WWE is looking forward to come into the NXT. They've offered him contracts on numerous occasions, and I think he's going to end up signing at some point. Gringo Loco, Zenshi, Ross and Marshall Von Erich, who are the former tag team champions. Aramis, King Mo, who was a former MMA fighter who used to fight with Bellator and with UFC. Boku Dao, Alex Kane, who is another MMA fighter that wrestles under American Top Team with King Mo. Davey Richards, who recently signed with them. Sean Davari, who was part of the group Contra, the Contra unit, and a guy by the name of Kit Osborne. Now, I put emphasis on Kit Osborne. I haven't seen him yet, but apparently he's new to MLW and is claiming to be the son of Lance Von Erich. Now, what makes this funny is that if anybody that's listening that knows, Lance Von Erich, after Kerry died, they after David died, I'm sorry. After David died, before Kerry went to WWE, Daddy Von Erich decided that he needed to have another Von Erich in the family. So while there were no other Von Erich boys that were ready to get into the ring, they invented a Von Erich named Lance Von Erich, who ended up not working out. They wound up getting rid of him after a few months being in the ring with the Von Erichs, and it kind of left a black eye and a bad taste in the fans' mouth because they were like, "Well, you're going through all this stuff, and we're trying to stick with you, but then you want to stick us with this fake Von Erich? Where'd this come from?" So now this is a guy who is claiming to be the son of the fake Von Erich, who has claimed that he has a vendetta against the Von Erichs for treating his father the way that they did. So now he's going after the Von Erichs.
So I don't know how you kept a straight face with Crunchy Stiltskin over there. We hit a bag, we hit a crunch, everything.
Right.
Wasn't my fault.
You got one job. Not eat for about 3 hours. That's all.
Now, in MLW, they've been having this open draft where they've been introducing new wrestlers into MLW and have been telling everybody who's going to be staying and what's been happening with the Battle Riot. So they've brought a lot of people in. A lot of the middle. I told you about David Richards, who's the first inductee, who's the first person in. A lot of people who have come in since then have been like people you may not know and I don't know too much about. So I got to learn more about them, all except for the NJ Nduku guy who, came from NXT or whatever, who got let go from WWE. But the last person that they drafted in is a guy by the name of Matt Cross. Now, Matt Cross is like a 15, 20-year veteran in wrestling. You may remember him as Son of Havoc in Lucha Underground. And he also has been wrestling in AEW and some of the AEW Dark and whatnot. And he's also been in NWA, and he's done a lot of the independents. So he's been moving around a lot here recently. But he's recently signed with MLW, and he will be under the auspices of Azteca Underground, which is run by Cesar Duran, who is the former Dario Cueto, who actually ran Lucha Underground, the guy who was running Lucha Underground. So he has acquired Promociones de Dorado from Selena De La Renta, who has been run out of MLW, and also has acquired the rights to the Caribbean wrestling organization that was owned by Savio Vega. So now he owns the rights to the Caribbean Heavyweight Championship, which is currently held by Richard Holiday. So with that said, on this match for the Battle Riot on this card, you'll also have Davey Richards versus TJP. You're going to have a lot of guys double dipping on this night. The Von Erichs will be in a bunkhouse brawl match against Team Filthy, who I'm not sure as to who will be representing Team Filthy, but I'm thinking it could be Tom Lawler and this Kit Osborne guy, since the other two members are a tag team called Violence is Forever. So they would have called them that. I'm thinking they would have called them that instead of calling them Team Filthy. So, and then Richard Holiday will be defending the Caribbean title against King Muertes. So, we'll see where that goes. What happens with that? Now, going to Impact. Kenny Omega is still your world heavyweight champion within Impact. You have Violent by Design, who's been using the Freebird rule to defend their tag team championships. So Violent by Design still has the belts. Josh Alexander is your X Division champion. Fire and Flavor is still your Knockouts tag team champions. And Deonna Purrazzo is your Knockouts singles champion. Now, Slammiversary will be coming up on July the 17th. That will be their first live show with people in the crowd. They will be having Impact live shows on that following Monday and Tuesday, with their show coming on Thursday. I haven't heard whether they're going to tape one of those Monday or Tuesday shows for Thursday, or if they're going to do just another live show from in another location. But we'll have to see where that goes. We also have Steve Macklin, who's now who's signed on with Impact. And Steve Macklin, you will remember as Steven Cutler from the Forgotten Sons in WWE. So he's found a place. Actually, I'm sure his girlfriend Deonna Purrazzo kind of put in a word for him. Now going back to the Slammiversary card, the card so far is Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan for the world title. You have Moose versus Chris Sabin, which will most likely be a number one contenders match. They're bringing back Ultimate X, and which will probably be a number one contenders match for the X Division Championship, which will have Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Rohit Raju, and Petey Williams in it.
Good old Petey.
Now, they haven't said any more matches at this point, but I'm thinking that there will be a Knockouts tag team title match with Fire and Flavor defending against Rosemary and Havoc, but that's just a guess. And then I'm also thinking that Violent by Design will defend the tag team titles against TJP and Fallah Bahh, which they've been pushing as a tag team here for a little while. So we'll see what happens with that. And being that Moose, Sami Callihan, and Chris Sabin are all within are in world title contention at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see some of them, if not all of them, at some point on AEW television. You know, especially with everything going on between them and AEW. So you could be looking for them in the near future on that show. Now, going on to the NWA. The NWA still has Nick Aldis, who is past 2 years as World Heavyweight Champion. Recently, Camille wound up winning the Women's World Heavyweight World Championship from Serena Deeb, who had gotten hurt for a while, but is now back. Had a knee injury, but is now returned and is looking to get into some things into a program with Thunder Rosa. You have the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro or Elijah Burke, whichever one you know him as, is still the television champion. And at this point, the national championship has been vacated. Now, the national title was vacated by Chris Adonis because he's now a member of Strictly Business, which is run by Nick Aldis. And there was a battle royal to determine the number one contender for Nick Aldis's title. Now, one of the stipulations of the battle royal was that there could be no singles champions or any champions period within this battle royal. So that took out the television champion, the national champion, and the tag team champions. Now, because Nick Aldis wanted an advantage within the battle royal, he already had Tom Latimer in there. He wanted to get Chris Adonis in there too, so he had Chris Adonis vacate the title so he could be in the battle royal. So now the title is up. So Trevor Murdoch wound up winning the battle royal. He had his title shot and he lost it. So we're waiting to see who the next challenger will be at this point. And there has been a series of three-way matches that have been taking place to determine who was going to be the contenders or the wrestlers who's going to battle for the national championship, which has been narrowed down now to Chris Adonis and JTG. JTG being a former member of the what was the name of the tag team?
The Primetime Players. No,
not the Primetime Players. That's what I was about to say.
That was
Prime time. Yeah, just prime time, right? So, so yes, he's been doing a lot of work in the independent wrestling. He's been doing a lot of time in the independents. He's working with NWA pretty well. He's been in New Japan Strong here recently. So he's been doing a lot of work, doing a lot of television work lately. So I'm hoping that he is able to pull the match off and get that national championship. But we'll have to see. The Pope will be going up against Sal Rinaldo for the television title, of which he won a three-way match here recently for that championship opportunity. There was an announcement made by Billy Corrigan recently where the NWA will be having their first live shows in Kansas City at the Chase. Okay. Now, I'm not sure, I don't know if anybody knows, but the Chase back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s, even further back from before that, was one of the major arenas where the NWA worked out of. I mean, that was almost like between the Chase, the Omni, Madison Square Garden, you know, that was that type of venue. As a matter of fact, it was the Chase. It was the Chase where Ric Flair won his first NWA World Heavyweight Championship against Harley Race. So, right. So this is a big deal, being that the NWA is coming back to this venue after such a very long time. They've announced 2 pay-per-views that they're going to start with. The first pay-per-view is going to be on August the 28th, which is going to be an all-women's pay-per-view.
I will give it to you.
That is going to be produced and booked by Mickie James.
I will give it to you.
Now, Mickie James has been working to get women to from everywhere, from anywhere, to get into this. They haven't started naming anybody yet, but at some point they will be naming some people that are in the air, so to speak, about getting in. As Camille. They've mentioned Kylie Ray, Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, and Melina at this point, which are all members of the NWA already. So they haven't mentioned anybody from the outside, but we'll have to see what goes on there.
I expect some AEW people, since they're.
I expect some AEW folks, and and MLW and a whole bunch of other folks.
It'd be smart for WWE to kind of extend the olive branch of "we're still sorry about sending your stuff in a box in a plastic bag in a trash bag to your home after we fired you."
Right.
Make up for that, to send some of the developmental NXT talent down there. It doesn't have to be anybody big, but just saying that they're from WWE. That's a Mr. Aprils thing. There we go. WWE. But they're still, NXT or affiliated. That could still be a good deal.
They don't even have to say they are. I'm sure somebody will know. But
I guarantee you, the NXT will be somewhere on their gear. it'll be somewhere.
Or they wear black and gold.
Yeah, I mean they'll stand out, but they don't have to win. It's just the fact that that'd be their first easy way into getting into other promotions and doing that cross promotional thing, which is almost like a KG female version of Worlds Collide, if that happens, because that would be somebody from everywhere. Ideally, if she can pull it off, which I'm quite sure Corgan will definitely let that happen and try to book as much as possible. There'll be a battle royale or Royal Rumble of some kind to get as many women in there. So I think that's a guaranteed match. And then you'll just have a couple championship thingies going on.
Now, on the next night, on the 29th, they've announced that there will be the 73rd anniversary of NWA. They'll have their 73rd anniversary show the following night. And this will be the debut of Mickie James wrestling in the NWA. Now, Mickie James has a poll going out on Twitter where she's asking for suggestions as to who she would wrestle against. And she's looking, the way she's talking, she's kind of leaning towards somebody new, somebody that may not be, very much known, or somebody that needs a little push or the rub, so to speak. So we'll have to see what happens with that, because we still got a few months before that actually happens to see how that goes down.
I'm glad you cleaned that up too.
What
did I say?
When he said she had a poll out, I was like, "Whoa, wait, hold on, wait, what we doing?"
It is
a poll. Up a little bit. I perked up a little bit.
What? You saying Mickie James is a Hermie now?
No. That's not the kind of poll I was thinking about. When you said poll and Mickie James, I was like, "Damn, she gonna start stripping?"
Go back to your trail.
I mean, she's already got videos. So I mean, what?
Go back to your trail, man.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. We'll talk later. Yeah. Now, going to the last two, New Japan. Of course, I got to mention New Japan because this is Don's favorite part of my segment. Stop smiling and shaking your head.
I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
And it may come early. I'll give it to you early, okay? So Shingo Takagi is the World's Heavyweight Championship, and he is a representative of Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Yes.
John Moxley is still the United States champion. Jay White has won the Never Openweight Championship, which makes him the first person ever in New Japan to have won all 4 singles titles. So that's a nice little accolade for him. El Desperado is still your junior heavyweight champion. Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi recently won the heavyweight tag team championships from the Guerrillas of Destiny. El Fantasmo and Taiji Ishimori have recently won the junior tag team championships from Roppongi 3K. And Yoshihashi Ishimori, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto are still your 6-man tag team champions, and Tom Lawler is your New Japan Strong Openweight champion. Now, right now, they are in the middle of the Summer Struggle Tour, which is going to be culminating here a little bit later in the month on a show that was supposed to happen a few months in June, but on the 10th of July, you'll have a card that will feature as a main event El Desperado versus Taiji Ishimori for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. On the 11th, you'll have a card that will have as a main event Tetsuya Naito and Sonata from LIJ, getting a tag team title shot against Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi. On the 25th, you'll have your Wrestling Grand Slam in the Tokyo Dome, which was supposed to be the Shingo Takagi versus Okada match, but they wound up moving that to another venue. So now they're going to have Shingo Takagi versus Kota Ibushi for that card, for the main event of that card. Now, back on the 2nd of July, the 6-man tag team champions were defended and retained by Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Goto against Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima, and Hiroshi Tenzan. So they have a group called the Third Generation, which was the third generation of the young lions that came out of the New Japan Dojo, which so that's what they call themselves, and they were representing Third Generation to try to get those championships. So they wound up losing, and we'll see what happens with those 6-man titles here a little later, because Ishii is now in a battle with Evil, because they're having another grudge match like they had about 2 or 3 years ago, which should be hard hitting and more toward the strong style that New Japan is known for. Now, Jay White will be defending for the first time the Never Openweight Championship against David Finlay at a show in the United States for New Japan Strong called Resurgence on August the 14th. That's going to be at the Torch, which is a part of the LA Coliseum. So they're going to have a card there for that. Also, Tom Lawler is going to face Satoshi Kojima for the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship here coming up in the next few weeks. I'm not sure if that's going to be part of a pay-per-view or if that's going to be part of the New Japan Strong show. So I'll have to let you know about that once I find out. Now, as promised to you a few months ago, I wanted to keep you, and this will be the last thing I do for this segment. I promised that I would get you up to date, or try to keep you up to date on the AAA Triple Mania show that's going to be coming up. That's going to feature Kenny Omega versus Andrade El Idolo for the AAA Mega Championship. Now, they have put out a card for that now. So it will also include Fabi Apache, who is the Reina del Reyes champion, which is the women's champion for AAA, going up against Diana Purrazzo, the Impact Knockouts Championship, and that's going to be title for title. So winner takes all match in that. Oh, so you also have Psycho Clown versus Rey Escorpion, which is going to be a mask versus hair match, which is very significant within the Mexican Lucha Libre community. The Lucha Brothers, Penta El Cerromero and his brother, Rey Phoenix, will be defending the AAA World Tag Team Championships against the Laredo Kid and Hijo del Vikingo and also they will be defending against Black Taurus, who is in Impact Wrestling as part of the Decay faction, and he's going to have a partner of his choosing, which they have not announced yet. Now, there'll be another match where Pagano Chessman and Murder Clown. Excuse me. I gotta read my writing. Against Puma King and two wrestlers to be determined. Now, there are two other matches that are pretty interesting. The first match, they always have a battle royal in these Triple Manias, which is usually what starts the show. And this year is being sponsored by a company called Bardal, which is kind of like a company like Pennzoil. They do like motor oil and motor lubricants and things of that nature. So they got a sponsor for that now. So they're calling it Copa Brudal, the Copa Brudal Battle Royal. Now they haven't announced who's going to be part of that Battle Royal, but it's usually a 20-man Battle Royal. It usually starts off the pay-per-view, and it's usually pretty interesting because they too do the surprise entries and things of that nature. So you never know who's going to be involved in that, like an older wrestler or a wrestler who used to work with AAA that hasn't been seen in a while, or somebody new that's coming in. So things of that nature. So, and the other match that's going to be interesting to watch is that they have some type of initiative with Marvel, the comic.
Okay.
So last year they had what they called a Marvel Lucha exhibition, where they had 4 wrestlers dressed up as Marvel comic characters who had a 4-way match, and had a 4-way match, and it was, and I watched it. It was pretty good, but it's not now. It's not till now that I figured out who they actually were. So I'm gonna let you guess who it might have been. And I'll tell you the character.
You're talking about the real person or the character?
No. I'm going to tell you the characters.
Oh, it's AAA.
Then I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you. No. You're going to know the characters. Like I said, this is an initiative with Marvel.
Okay.
So they use Marvel characters, but they named them, in Spanish. But I'm gonna give you the name, the Spanish name. I'll give you the regular name.
All right. Okay.
And I'm gonna let you tell me. I'm gonna let you see if you know who won.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you who the characters actually were under the masks.
All right.
Okay. So you had Terror Purpura, which is Thanos.
Terrible.
Venenoid, which is Venom.
Right.
Arachno, Spider-Man.
Obviously, yeah.
And Elinda Americana, Captain America. So you tell me who won.
Be controversial, but I put my money on Cap.
Thanos.
No.
The winner was Thanos.
Come on, man. He already won twice.
Okay, so Captain America was Drago.
Really?
And for those who don't know who Drago is, that's Tessa Blanchard's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man was Leo Rush.
Okay. I can see that.
Venom was Black Taurus.
Okay.
And the winner, Thanos,
was John Cena.
Was from AEW, was Brian Cage.
Whoa. I can see that. I can see that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without some wrestling knowledge to step two.
Step two. Step two. Step two.
I wasn't expecting you to culturally bring us home.
So, any questions about anything that I've given you?
I'm tired. No, I'm tired.
No, I got a question. I got a question. I do.
That's like 3 months of Nubian right there.
I got a question.
What's your question?
Why the hell does Leo Rush keep coming back? He retires and he comes back.
Again.
No. The event hasn't happened yet. The event doesn't happen until August the 31st. That what I gave you was from last year, just to give you an idea of what could happen this year and what they would what how they would go about doing it. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what happened last year in last year's match. So the AAA is not going to happen until August 31st.
Okay.
So
and my second thing is to what you said, Don, about the women's version of All Worlds Collide. All Worlds Collide was everybody. I needed the women were going to be strong because I needed the women to carry that pay-per-view.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah, but I mean,
baby steps.
Man, I've been taking baby steps for the last 2.5 years. I can't take no more baby steps. I'm ready to run now.
Well, they ain't giving you no legs to run, so you better take the crawl that you got.
They ain't giving me no money to run neither, but shit, I'm on my own with that.
Yeah,
at this present point, I'm gonna have to rent out the Cow Palace and do it myself.
You may have to, especially since you're over there balling in a hotel room. No sex in the champagne room. No sex in the champagne room.
You ain't got to put my business out there like that.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody knows your business. You got a picture frame up. Really? When have you ever had a picture frame up in your background?
You act like I didn't move into a new house or something.
No. Even if you did, that's too much culture in the background. Like, no.
But I'm a cultured individual.
I don't hear any go-go music, so we know you ain't home. You're not yelling at no kids.
My kids are gone.
There's nobody giving birth and then just magically showing up with a baby for you to hold at the end of the episode.
Hey,
none of that is happening right now.
Things happen, man.
Just in context.
No. They working on the next one.
I mean,
every 4 years.
The wallpaper is Dexter-esque. I mean, it's basically if you mass murder somebody, you just quickly paint over that. CSI's not going to pick that up. I don't foresee Horatio just looking at it like, what's going on, Eric? It's not happening.
You murder somebody and blood gets on the wall, luminol will find it. You have to have a special agent to clean the blood up. You can't do it like that. Luminol finds every bodily fluid.
Hey, I just brought up CSI Miami, so obviously I know that. Come on.
I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna keep it 100 and just chill out.
I figured that's why you had that. That's why you had that apron on. You were chopping up bodies over there or something.
Hey
man,
it's either that or you was over there cooking. You got baking soda this week.
I can't talk about what I'm doing over here. Just know that it's about to go down tomorrow. I probably won't be part of it. But
wait, hold on, wait. So if you handling that tomorrow, I mean, what's good? Can I come down and get a little bit? How much I gotta pay?
I don't know. You got too much going on over there. You may be too tired.
No. I mean, if you over there cooking, I'm trying to get a little bit.
You may be too tired. I mean, all that work you're about to put in tonight.
I put in work every night.
That's why you got 15 kids. So trust me, we know this.
I'm trying to catch up with you.
So you're the only person I know that the stimulus Okay. Well, unfortunately, it's going to take a while because I'm still in the D department. You are in the GD department. By GD, I mean granddad. So you're in a league of your own on this chat room and this podcast and this trio. So
2 of them.
Yeah, I know, man. You're doing too much work, man. You're doing too much. You got time to shut those things down.
Nah, man. I'm gonna be 75 and still getting it in.
All right, Pop. Since you over here,
he got one job. Keep him off the pole, and that's the pole I meant. I meant that pole. I meant that pole.
One job. Make sure he use that hotel.com free night. That's what he's using over there. But I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, let's go with that
man's pocket. How you know he ain't got some Marriott points?
That's not the Marriott. Come on now.
How you know?
Because James knows what the Marriott.
I know that picture.
James knows the Marriott.
So you was over Naya's room too, huh? So y'all both in the same room?
Nah. Me and Naya are not on speaking terms right now.
I bet. Especially since you're closer to Jordan. So
speaking of which,
that Piper Niven.
No, speaking of which,
I don't know who you're stalking.
Did y'all see what happened to her on Instagram?
Not which part.
Who, Jordan?
Yeah.
Was she pissed herself?
Nah. I hope not.
Yeah, she's practicing for a competition and she tried to deadlift this weight, right? And she pissed herself.
No, I didn't see that. But
that was about 2-3 days ago. Yeah.
Only James a little too close.
She put it out there. She put it out there, letting people know. She's like, this is what happens to people when they try to lift heavy weights. I mean, it was to the point where she had to step over and then step over the bar.
Well, I mean,
because you can see where she had,
that's the best case scenario. We'd hate to see her, start puking all over the place. So
nope. I just seen it. I mean, that's like a low grade amount of porn, but
right. Okay. People pay for that on OnlyFans, right?
we started to get to a whole nother planet of context here. I don't know if we can maintain our streaming license, considering that y'all over here in Fetishville.
No, she went back and forth with a dude.
She put it on Instagram.
She went back and forth with a dude that jumped in her DM and told her, you messing with a black dude, you need to keep your race pure.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah,
she put it in her story. I was like, yo,
I saw the aftermath of that, but I didn't know where it came from. Okay, because she didn't say.
I still don't know why they, celebrities in general, or just average people, but just more so celebrities, answer the stuff to keep that stuff going. Every time you turn around, they post on their page, oh, I had this conversation. Why? All you're doing is fueling the fire. You're not going to change their mind. I don't care what celebrity you are. You're not going to change their mind. Just like they're not going to change yours.
It's also adding to their comments, which helps their.
I get that, but it's sometimes, like some things just shouldn't reply to.
What's the old
out of a pandemic for the most part, and then nobody cares about what somebody else says about some tomfoolery that don't affect your life. Do you?
What's the old adage? Controversy creates cash.
And that's what she's doing. She's monetizing it. She's getting more hits on her page, on her comments and whatnot. Anybody, she lets people know about it. They gonna back her up. So
basically,
that just adds to her. Yeah, it's clickbait. Thank you. It's clickbait.
See, I guess
we had that idea here. We had that idea here.
Tables, I guess, on the oppressor by making money off of it. So whatever.
Like I'm gonna get us some clickbait right now. Fuck Bill Cosby.
Really?
He should have stayed his ass in jail.
But did you get the pudding?
That's the problem. He's putting his fingers in the pudding and the pudding thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave that alone.
He leaves to leave his stick in somewhere else.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave that alone because if we're not gonna get in deep into that.
I can't touch that either.
Oh, KG, one day we're gonna get together. We're gonna have us like a day-long conversation because Bill did it, OJ did it, Michael Jackson did it.
Wait. I'm gonna stop you right there. It's already been found out Michael Jackson didn't do it, so we ain't even got to go there. So we ain't got to go there.
Yeah, he did it.
Oh man.
You know what? That's gonna be a day. That's gonna be a day we got to hook up.
That's gonna be a day. Yeah, that's gonna be a day. That's gonna.
We're gonna have it out that day on the Sunday Rise or something, so that way Jesus can be in the mix of that conversation. So tomorrow morning, y'all can let Jesus take the wheel and deal with that because y'all are crazy. But just for clarification terms, thank you, Ben. Everything that James, the Nubian Sumo, just said in his "That's Just Nubian" segment is allegedly.
Hey, don't be cleaning. We trying to clean this up.
Is not those of the Wrestlemaniacs.
Don't be trying to clean it up.
Or humanity.
Let me just explain something.
I said what I said.
He is of a particular ilk, a particular age, where they just old and they get the hall pass on saying what they want to say.
Let me stop you right there.
When you playing hopscotch with Jesus, And then you got to tell, hey, man, you jumped too far. You need to stop that. I know you got powers, but stop jumping so far, man. I can't do this.
Let me stop you right there.
Having those conversations.
Hold on, wait.
You got a hall pass.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. There it is.
Hey, look, I know there are known knowns, there are known unknowns, there are unknown unknowns that we're not sure about yet. But I am definitely sure. Guilty. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to
it. All right, we firing on all cylinders tonight because everybody know where everybody going. Let's roll. Let's roll.
So, thank you. I'm so glad you finally clicked the button on the ticker to change the pace of the conversation off of the sumo, who's definitely gotten too Nubian for his own good, or at least hit that bottle a little too long this week. So,
for those that haven't watched SmackDown, I still got 2 more days.
For those that have watched SmackDown, we saw a familiar face, as you can see on the ticker. Zelina Vega is back in the WWE.
And they kept it a secret. Oh my God!
Still making content, the same, podcast and social media content that she was making that led to the issues that she had with the WWE. And there, you can't do anything else. A policy unless we're getting a check, basically. So she's still doing her same old thing, to the best of our knowledge. Nothing has been cut off, suspended, or I'm back in WWE, so I can't do this anymore. But my question to you guys is, what does this say about the WWE? Because we were already, I guess you could even say heartbroken or surprised when Samoa Joe was let go. Zelina Vega, we understood that was a difference of opinion. So they let her go because she stated her opinion heavily and she wasn't backing down from it. So they just said, hey, fine, it is what it is. Last week, we talked about the plethora of all the releases that has happened from late 2020 all the way up until last week. So we have all that going on. But what's in the WWE Kool-Aid, fellas, that has people that could have potential lucrative, career-altering opportunities in other places? And I'm not just talking AEW, I'm just talking about in general, other places, but they still take the call and they go back to the WWE and they get back under that umbrella like that. What's in the Kool-Aid? I'm trying to figure this out. Because everybody just, it was a foregone conclusion. Like, Zelina just biding her time. Alistair's gone, so she's going to go wherever he goes. If it's NWA, AEW, whatever, she's going to show up somewhere. Mickie James talking about the all women's pay-per-view. She's probably going to end up NWA possibly. I mean, the sky's the limit on what she could do when she wanted to do it. Lord knows we know she's alum of Impact / TNA. So her going back there is just a homecoming. So, and Samoa Joe, everybody wanted Samoa Joe. Everybody. So we know that, he could punch his ticket anywhere. We talked about that heavily from Ring of Honor and NWA and all the way down to the AEWs and New Japan. Wherever he wanted to go, he could just go. But they both came back. Even though they were let go and it was like, hey, we're just going to let you go. But they both came back. So, James, I mean, you tell me, man, if you were in that situation, what could they offer you that would make you come back? Because it has to be been more than the money. I know the money is there, but to still go back in, let's say if you end up
it's the money
after a month on,
it's the money.
If you're mid-carder after a month and you're not doing anything, but you're locked into a 3-year program, it's like, that potential is there. Joe is in a different role, so he's kind of the anomaly. But for Zelina Vega, she doesn't win Money in the Bank. Then who's she gonna feud with?
She can feud with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, but
she can feud with anybody. She can go back to NXT. She can go to NXT
potentially. So, but I'm just asking.
But to answer your question, as Ben says, it's the money. They're not going to be able to go anywhere else and make the money that they make in WWE. Okay. In Samoa Joe's situation, he's hurt. So to leave WWE in a medical situation where WWE is saying, look, we'll help you with your rehab. We'll help you if you need to get surgery. We got you. You need rehab. We got you. You know all that,
James.
Huh?
That's part of the contract. If you get hurt in the ring, WWE is going to fit the bill for your medical needs. Period. That's contractual. They had no choice but to do that. They're riding the wave on that.
But then he's also got an edge kind of thing going because he's got a list of wrestlers that he wants to wrestle. He's got this list, like he's got Pete Dunne, he's got Walter. Mm-hmm. He's got a whole bunch of folks that he Adam Cole. He's got a whole bunch of folks that he like. I think it was a list of 6 guys that he wants to wrestle before he shuts it down. And like you said, once he gets done with those 6 wrestlers, and he's back to being Samoa Joe, be back in the ring full time. He can go. He can leave and go anywhere. He can go on his Kurt Angle tour if he wants to. Mm-hmm. He can go anywhere he wants to, and they will accept him with open arms. So that's not a problem. He's getting all the money that he can right now in doing this enforcer thing until he gets well enough to get cleared and wrestle. He's gonna wrestle these 6 guys, which will probably be like a 2-3 year run for him. And then he's gonna leave and go somewhere and go Ring of Honor. Go back to Ring of Honor for his farewell. Go back to Impact for his farewell. You know, go to Japan. Maybe make a trip over to Japan. You know, it's all about the money. With Zelina Vega, they probably said, okay, look, we can ease up on, you know, you can do whatever you want to do and all this stuff, you know, it's cool, you know. Let's just work this thing out, and you know, because they do need some extra women in there. You know, they do need some other women, and she does bring an air of fresh air into the women's division. You know, not saying that it's going to be very believable. I mean, at first it was hard enough to believe that Alexa Bliss was going to be able to do anything with anybody, but now you got somebody that's shorter than Alexa Bliss coming in talking about, you know, she's going to win Money in the Bank, and you know she got to go up to the top of the ladder just to get to the briefcase. You know, she got to stand on the very top of it. So I mean, we'll see what happens with it. But to answer your question, it's all about the Benjamins.
All right, KG.
Well, I say crack, but I guess I can go with money. But WWE is like, for lack of a better term, WWE is like Ike Turner. You can go on over there and do your little la-di-da thing. I ain't gonna worry about it. But as soon as you start becoming bigger than WWE, because the fan support and the fans are behind you, and you have this fan base, even when you're not in WWE, now all of a sudden they want to love you again. They want you back because they want those fans back. But WWE stopped listening to their fans a long time ago. When Samoa Joe, Zelina Vega, we made big stinks as a fan base on them being released. When that big stink hit the higher ups in WWE, they decided to bring them back. Took longer for Zelina than it did for Joe because they released Samoa Joe twice. So you're not going to tell me they're not listening to the fans, number one. Number two, they only listen to the fans when it's a big something that's going to hurt their bottom line, which shows you the power that we have as fans. But WWE is an abuser. I don't want nothing to do with you. So leave. Get out. I'm done with you. I've used you all I can. I don't want anything to do with you. Fans make a big outcry. They start making more money on Twitch and things like that. And they got a chance to go to AEW and do their thing. Be even bigger with a bigger role in WWE. Oh, no, come back. We want to welcome you back with open arms. We're sorry. We're gonna make this work. You know, you do your thing and we'll be okay. I don't want to hear that shit. This doesn't make me feel happy because I think it's a punk move. And you probably lessening the earning power of Zelina Vega and Samoa Joe with this. And I agree with Ben, Joe versus Ciampa, make it work. We can make that work. We can flesh that out in 20 minutes.
That's another name. I think that's another name on his list too. Yeah.
But I don't like it. It seems like you take from these performers. You take. Now, granted, it's a business. Once you can't give me anymore, I don't love you anymore. But you don't try to ease them on out the door. Try to ease them into other roles when they get older. You try to use them until they got nothing else in the tank, and you still capitalize off them somehow. John Cena,
they use them up, then they embarrass them, then they let them go.
That is true. John Cena and The Rock are totally different because both of them are still making money for the WWE with every movie that they make. The WWE gets paid off of their movie roles, especially all the money that The Rock made early on acting. WWE got a cut of that.
Well, I think wasn't two of The Rock's first movies WWE productions.
Exactly.
That's why he came. That's why he was listed as The Rock and not Dwayne Johnson. It was once he started doing his own thing and getting his own movies and whatnot, he became Dwayne Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah. But long as WWE can get a cut of whatever you're doing, if James is making $100 million over here to the left, he's making $10 million right here with WWE. WWE is like, okay, James, you're gonna give us a cut of that $100 million. We want half. Fuck, I look like giving you $50 million off of something that I built. What I look like? I think that's
when I changed. That's when I changed my name from James. That's when I changed my name from James to Dave Chappelle.
But I'm gonna go to that question because even though I understand what you're saying about your impressions, KG, but they're saying yes to going back. So you can't put 100% ownership on WWE if the person, whoever it may be, is saying yes. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see Lana back at some point.
But think about this. This is my theory. This is not true. This is just my thoughts, my theory. You think the reason why they say yes because they weren't getting opportunities because somebody behind the scenes is putting bad blood in the water, so they're not getting signed to your AEWs. They're not getting signed to NWAs and things like that.
I think that's kind of a hard thing to do. That may have been old tactics, but these days, since kayfabe is gone, there's so much, I guess, for lack of a better term, there's so much transparency that through social media and everything else, you can see how somebody is feeling if they're posting it, like a Lana situation or a Drake Maverick, when he was, in tears at that point,
Yeah, but that was a work. That ended up being a work. So
no, that was a shoot, but the fans rallied so hard that they had to bring him back. They couldn't. That would just be bad business. They had to swallow their own pill and do what's best for business in that standpoint. And give him a shot.
I don't like it because it's a punk move to me.
But how would you feel if somebody that went to AEW when their contract is up went back? Like, what if they say, hey, you know what? I think it's about time for Rusev to come back.
But are you paying them more money? Are you going to give them more control creatively?
That's all in the
Are you giving them more?
That's all negotiation. You got to negotiate your money.
It's different.
They're not going to offer you millions if you would settle for 100,000. That's
exactly
business. That's business 101. So you got to prove and know your self-worth.
You got to know your worth, and then you got to charge tax. That's how you do it,
right? Because if I know, be an independent contractor, you need to independently protect yourself. Yeah.
If I know I'm worth $300,000 a year, I know that's what I'm worth. Bottom line.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you that I'm worth $300,000. I'm going to tell you I'm worth $450,000. Take it or leave it.
Or even if we negotiated down $200,000 and 75% of the royalties for my merch. That's where the real money is, right there.
Exactly. But now, think about this: if Samoa Joe and Zelina Vega didn't go to AEW, and they actually went to MLW, not NXT, NWA, things like that. They don't have enough money to pay for the talent that those two have.
Oh, they find the money.
I'm sure they will, but it's going to be way under market value than what they're getting paid. So why would you leave WWE? You can't go to AEW because AEW is not interested probably, or they don't have the money to pay you. So you only shot you got is going back to who let you go. You got to go back to who hurt you.
No, it also depends on the person too, because you got to think in a scenario with Chris Jericho, he had two decisions. He could go back to WWE, or he could just stand on the strength of his name and help build a new thing.
Or he could just go on tour with Fozzy and make all that money right back.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, if he still has the wrestling bug, so I mean, we just talking about the wrestling part, but he decided to go and build a new thing off the strength of his name, because it's irrefutable that AEW wouldn't have existed at the level and the growth that it had if it wasn't for Chris Jericho. Because the U.S. population, a good portion of it, did not know the awesomeness of Kenny Omega. They may have heard his name here or there, barely knew the Young Bucks and stuff like that, but you knew Chris Jericho. You knew why.
Think about what he did with merchandising. A little bit of the bubbly, champion.
That's
merch
quick.
Period.
That's quick turnaround times. He just had his thing, and then it took fires. We need a T-shirt. We need to do the WWE thing and have the T-shirt the next day. Press it, I'll wear it, and then we'll figure out how to sell it later. Well, let's capitalize on that.
They got the guy running pro wrestling tees on their roster.
Retainer, yeah. So, and who do you think brokered that? That's a smart deal. Now you got Kenny Omega out there doing, the wrestling thing. You've got a referee that is basically almost as big of a character that anybody you have on a roster, being Aubrey, and she's also handling the mobile side of things when it comes down to AEW games. So I mean, they're putting the piece of the puzzle, as the old business term, aces in their places, all over the place, the right way. And some stuff still can stick, some stuff still may not work. But at least you've got enough people doing their right role, instead of it being, in some instances, the demigod up here saying what you cannot do as a last resort.
But you see the difference, though. You see the difference between. I mean, AEW's a new company, but they embrace.
That's what I was about to put out there. They're still a baby,
but they embrace the new ways.
5 years
they embrace the time.
Have Mr. Khan talk about no chance in hell will Cody Rhodes ever become champion. I still expect Cody to become champion. It's inevitable.
Oh yeah, at some point, it's
inevitable.
It may not be anytime. It may not be anytime soon, but it's gonna get to the point where they're gonna have to put the belt on him.
That's when those cracks are going to start happening, because the Young Bucks are pretty much running. They did the right thing on doing a job when it came down to the first tag team championship match and all that stuff, taking the L, giving a push to Private Party and stuff like that, so that way it can move on. But now Cody's the last one to really take that brass ring and run with it. He did what he could do with the TNT, but he's the last one to get that hand in it. And Omega's doing his role right now, but yeah, it's going to come down to Cody and Omega, or Cody and Omega at some point within the next year or so. You just have to. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen the WrestleMania season. But good discussion on that. I'm glad we could talk like some civilized gentlemen without James being drunk, like Hangman Page. But so.
Hangman Page is my hero.
On the road again.
Wait.
What?
On the road again? I can't wait to get back on the road again.
So
sing with me, Shrek.
In the very immediate future, AEW and WWE, as we start to get back to the states of normalcy.
Oh, everybody, every wrestling organization.
Yeah, but I mean, they're making that run into places. And I'm about to cover the next 7 venues that each promotion is going into, and then we're going to just figure out who possibly is going to have the better shake of the pie, because they're almost running in the same loop. And when you start hearing the location, like, weren't they just there and stuff like that? So it's going to be kind of interesting. But I'm going to start with AEW, because just like they have been doing, they're leading the way, which is smart business for them, since they had fans before the Capitol Wrestling Center had fans. So they were making things happen at Daly's Place. So that'll be the first on the road, starting next week with the 7/7 show being the Road Rager, coming out of Miami at the James L. Knight Center. and that is capacity-wise could seat between 45 to 4,700 people. After that, on 7/14, they'll be going out to Cedar Park, Texas, at the HEB Center for Fyter Fest Night 1. And that capacity could seat close to about 8,000. And this is barring that, they can get up to that level or they're allowed to with COVID restrictions, On July 21st, Fyter Fest Night 2 is going to be coming out of Garland, Texas at the Curtis Caldwell Center. That's going to be about 7,000 capacity. 7/28, Fight for the Fallen. And that is going to be coming out of North Carolina from the Queen City of Charlotte. At the
Bojangles Coliseum, the old That's Independence Arena.
Yep. So they could potentially get up to about 9,600 capacity, depending on how they work the seating. On August 11th, you'll be having Dynamite in Pittsburgh, PA. Steelers.
Britt Baker's homecoming
at the Peterson Event Center. That could do between 10 to 12K. So that'd be the biggest one that they'll be having. We still haven't had a pay-per-view yet. Keep that in mind. These are just Dynamite shows. On August 13th, you have Rampage, the first episode, still in the same venue in Pittsburgh. So that will be going on. On August 18th, for their 7th road show, will be Dynamite from Houston, Texas. And that's going to be about 9K at the Fertitta Center, all leading up to, there's a couple more shows, but their next big pay-per-view is going to be All Out, emanating from Chicago at the Service Now Arena on September 5th, and that's 11 to 12K. So
that's the old Sears Arena, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because so that's where they had their first pay-per-view, and they got the plaque on the building and the whole thing. So that's their
back home to where it all began.
Right.
So that's their road to get there.
They're guaranteed to be there every year. So for that event. So yeah.
So that's their 7 first, and like I said, there's a couple more to get to September. So they've got a long road before they get to a pay-per-view, but they're averaging about 8,000 to 9,000 capacity, depending on average within those 7 shows. We'll see how it goes. Now, WWE, on the other hand, is starting a week late, and they're starting with SmackDown, and that's going to be out of Houston, Texas at the Toyota Center, but they are spiking that at the highest end of 18,000 for capacity on that one. Then right after that, that is the go-home show to Money in the Bank on July 18th out of Fort Worth at the Dickens Arena, which houses probably about 14,000. The Raw after Money in the Bank is going to be on July 19th out of Dallas at the American Airlines Arena. That's 21,000, and I'm quite sure they may try to fit some extra seats in just to push and get that capacity level up there. And then the SmackDown after Money in the Bank on July 23rd will be out of the Rocket Mortgage Arena from Cleveland, home of The Miz, and that's 20,000. So that's 20K back-to-back on average. And then it gets a little interesting. And this is where you start to see that difference from well-established to just starting out. Because after the SmackDown from Money in the Bank, WWE is having a Saturday house show, which they're calling a super show in Pittsburgh at the PPG Points Arena. And that's 20,000 for a house show. And then that Sunday, July 25th, they're doing another super show. So I believe they're going to split the roster. They have to, in my opinion. And that's going to be out of Louisville, Kentucky at the KFC Center. And that's 22K. And then they're going to hit for their 7th live event in a row on July 26th. It'll be Raw from Kansas City at 18K at the T-Mobile Center. And then from there, you've got 13 more live events, some Raw SmackDown. Some of them are going to be super shows that they're still doing before you get to SummerSlam on August 21st out of Las Vegas at the Allegiant Stadium. So you got AEW running nice little quaint Daily's Place style venues that they're leading up to with All Out being on September 5th. WWE is going hard, and then they're throwing in house shows to make sure the talent is as sharp as they can be, but they are larger capacity venues. But the important thing is that to compare, they're still running in the same territories. If we take it back to old terms, between Texas, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. So I mean, they're running the same loop and crossing each other at some point. So you guys tell me who has the potential, and don't let capacity, in my opinion, be the decision maker. Because we know WWE can book the bigger shows, but doesn't mean it's always going to be the best quality shows because we're outside the Attitude Era. So we know that every week it's not going to be Stone Cold going crazy, Rock Bottoms, Nation of Dominations, DXs, and all those things happening guaranteed throughout, Raw, SmackDown, Heat, blah, 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 blah. So we know what we're getting. But who do you think is going to have the best advantage? KG?
Well, I think AEW is going to have the best advantage because right now AEW is the hot thing and everybody wants to get out to see them because of what they're doing. But before I go on, let me address this. Midnight Rider. There will be no Liv Morgan slander here at the WrestleManiacs. I don't play that. Leave my bull alone. I love me some Liv Morgan. She does have it. She trains very, very hard. She's not being used correctly. So let's just address that there.
Yeah, let's not start that slippery slope. We still haven't finished that discussion. The only positive thing out of that is that somebody was right that I don't know, Tyler Breeze is still on up, up, down, down.
Yeah, whatever.
I wonder who.
Whatever. Okay.
We talking about Liv Morgan.
We'll talk about
right
that
now.
later. We talking about Liv Morgan. That ain't got nothing to do with.
I see y'all trying to gloss over my accolade. I know what I'm talking about.
There will be no Liv Morgan slander.
And FTR doesn't need the tag belts right now. They're doing very well without the tag belts. This thing they got going on with the Lucha with Penta and Eddie Kingston is working. So that they're fine. The Pinnacle thing, they're doing just fine. They'll eventually get the belts, but they don't necessarily need them right now. So yeah. Now back to subject.
As far as who's going to do better, I think it's going to be AEW. AEW puts on a great show. WWE is, for lack of a better term, they slipping. I don't like it, but hey, if you don't want to change with the times, you're gonna fall behind. You dig what I'm saying? Look at that! I'm dropping bars on that ass. But
somebody else hit James's bottle clearly.
I don't know. AEW puts out a better.
I do tend to share, so yeah.
AEW is putting out a better product, TV wise, and I know I can only imagine how good it is live because you got so many people that are so entrenched in the business and have probably, if you put it all together, I think AEW probably has people, but if you put all their experience together, you got probably 250 years of experience in the wrestling business in that, in that company.
Not only that, but I think the fans feel more invested, because they were there through social media and the build up and then the events and the fact that, they were running even with people and, they feel like they were a part of the growth of AEW. So they have that
more inclusive
equity in it versus WWE, just know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a new network that's starting out and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, and then we'll just watch it. Next thing everybody's watching this new network versus NBC and CBS. They're going to have shows on it. It's like, okay, it's always there. That type of thing.
Not only that, MCW is going to have a good run too. MCW is doing shows back and forth between Joppa and Waldorf. They're starting up, I believe, next month. It's a meet and greet up in Pennsylvania with Gangrel, Greg the Hammer of Valentine, I believe, in Pennsylvania. Okay. I meant to tell y'all about that. So you guys want to ride up? It's the 27th of July. Matter of fact, it's a couple weeks from now, 27th of July. If you guys want to ride up and go do a little something, we can always do that. I think it's like $20.
You come through the flaming trap door, I'm in. I got the theme song, so we ain't got to play around like that. Just you create that part, I'm down.
I got to look up and see who all there. But MCW, for those that don't know, Maryland Championship Wrestling, you always have Flair. Bret Hart shows up. It's always a legend, at least once or twice a month. Flair it used to come twice a month, but they're going to be off the chain once this all starts back up. But
well, yeah. I'll see if I can add. I'll see if I can get information about them and add them to the mix. And then there's another one that I'm working on. I'm trying to learn more about that I want to add to this. I'm starting to get some traction as well. So I don't want to bring them up right now, but I will be adding them to my segment at some point. Okay. So I'm working on some things. So I'll get back to you on that.
So James, what's your thoughts on the first 7 shows being on the road again? Who do you think is going to come out on top or have an advantage? Possibilities?
Well, I think I agree with KG. I think AEW is going to do real well with their lineup. These are going to be their lineups are going to be more so pay-per-view quality, as opposed to WWE just doing regular television shows. Even though they're calling these shows, even though WWE's calling some of these shows super shows, they were doing that before the pandemic. Was calling their house shows super shows. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's going to be anything extra coming from them. I think AEW is going to probably put a little bit more into their shows, being that their fan base and the fact that they're more fan oriented than WWE, as KG was saying. So I'm thinking that AEW will probably come out better with these this run that they're getting ready to start, and especially leading up to All Out, because that's going to be their first pay-per-view. That's probably one of their biggest pay-per-views, probably the top 2 out of all of their shows. Yeah, I think AEW is going to come out on this one.
All right. So my only question, and you guys can tell me what you think about it, is does AEW have the roster depth for TV to really handle, the live road? We know that they still need a little bit more on the women's side of things. That's just glaringly obvious.
That's everybody.
A great talent, but AEW needs a little bit more. They have more that they haven't shown, but do they have the roster depth to really make it more than just we're going to see Kenny, we're going to see the Kingston thing, we're going to see the Jurassic Express, and we're going to pop for Jericho and St. Judas. Is there more? Do you think they have more? Do they need to start pulling more? Because we know some of these WWE release 90-day compete clauses, or in some cases 60-day non-compete clauses are ending. You think it's going to be a snatch fest and people are just going to start showing up, or are they good?
Well, you have to imagine. I'm thinking because, like I've said in the past, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, even Cody, they've got Japanese influence. So they've been around how they book. So if they can use the Japanese formula, they could say like in the beginning, like the first 2 matches of a New Japan show is pretty much their young boys. They'll have their young boys wrestling in like a tag team match, or they'll have a couple of guys going up against each other as a curtain jerker or whatever the case may be. That'll be the first 2 or 3 matches to include their young boys. Then they start going into the mid-carders and start bringing in some of their more of their storylines as far as tag teams and putting them together in 6, 8, 10 man tags and whatnot. So that's probably something that they'll do. They'll probably pull some of the guys or the girls from AEW Dark, AEW Evolution, all that, all those shows. They'll have them doing like the first 2 or 3 matches, and then that'll move into like maybe if they have like a 6 or 7 card match or card show. That you're gonna have 2 or 3 of those matches that are gonna be AEW Dark matches. Then you're gonna have some of your mid-carders, like your like the Best Friends, or they'll have a television, not a television title, but a TNT title match inside somewhere, tag team title matches. Then you'll go into your main events, or set up for your main events. So yeah, I think they got between the 4 shows that they're going to have. I think they've got enough people that they can work out with what they have, and plus they're going to be pulling people from the locals anyway, because that's what they've been doing. Before they even left, they were pulling people from the independents and bringing them in and showcasing them. So anywhere that they go, I mean, they go into Texas, I'm sure they're going to be knocking on Booker T's door for Reality of Wrestling. You go over to Kansas City, they got their independents over there. I know NWA has a championship wrestling from Missouri up that way, so I'm sure they'll be pulling from that. In Miami, I'm sure the championship wrestling from Florida. They've been established in Florida for all this time, so they can pull anybody from out of their hat. So they got plenty of people. They got plenty, and they got plenty of resources to pull from. So I don't think they need anybody else.
I just look at things and just questions jump in my head, and then also you got the Nightmare Factory as well. But also with that Japanese formula, you can also, for the American side of things, take that back to when WCW was in its heyday. Since we are talking about TNT programming, if you remember back, that's for the most part how Eric Bischoff was booking the show. Because that's what we saw in the beginning, the Jerichos and the Malenkos and the Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah, they started out with the cruiserweights, right?
And then it built that up, which also I believe ECW did that formula for a little bit as well before they started, just going uber extreme, throughout the end of it. You had your Rob Van Dams and your Sabus and
it built up to what it eventually went to.
Like so yeah, I could see that, but I just wanted to put that out there because somebody may be thinking that same question of do they have the depth, because of late your past few episodes, with the exception of a little sprinkle of, which I'm glad Matt Hardy is there because he's pulling people in at random factions or groups, like the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny and what was that, MSK I believe it is, or is that
you're talking about
oh gosh,
the hybrid,
yeah, the hybrid too, yeah,
Angelico and Jack Evans,
yeah. So having different flavor that way plus Private Party gives him a little bit of an advantage, and you can sprinkle in different things there. So like I said, I just wanted to pose it out there before we get to my favorite question of the night.
I don't get to answer the question.
Huh?
I thought you
did answer the question.
I did.
You answered it first.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the last question.
Well, that was just a general thing out there. If you have something to add to it, you can. Yeah. I'm sorry. It wasn't a full question. It was just a question.
No. No need for explaining. No need for explaining. It's cool. I got it.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, moving on because we be passing by you. No, what you got? What you got, KG? Now you gonna put it up there.
Passing me by.
So my favorite epiphany of the week, and KG, this was more geared towards you, and James, you can chime in. Do you think that Drew McIntyre, as you can see on the ticker, is the new John Cena done right? Here's the thought process behind it. Remember, Super Cena, as we have come to know him in his heyday, has been in situations like he is in the Royal Rumble against 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, who knows how many you want to put him in there, and he ends up eliminating everybody. Everybody. Like, the odds are against him, but John Cena, a.k.a. Super Cena, eliminates everybody. Unbelievable. This person, Big Show, oh my gosh, Big Show is going to crush Cena. Nope, AA, he's done. Goldberg, nope, he's done. He's just beating people. It doesn't matter what scenario you put him in, John Cena is going to win, which is why people started disliking John Cena, outside the fact that his crossface has absolutely no contact at all. Sorry, John, I'm a fan, but still, you can close those arms a little bit more, make it believable. But that's a whole different topic. So, in essence, of no fault, truthfully, of John Cena, is the WWE created a monster that they couldn't control because John Cena had literally beaten everybody multiple times to the point to where there was nobody that you could really believe could beat him unless it was a cinematic match, which he didn't really lose. He just got Friday the 13th, where he just got pulled into the water. So, so that's the John Cena thing.
Ben is off the hook tonight. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So,
let me. Oh, go ahead. Finish. I'll chime in.
Since his return, Drew McIntyre has ideally run the same gambit to start. He beat everybody in commanding fashion. Claymore here, Claymore there. He was just winning, became champion, winning. And then he hit a brick wall named Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business. And then he lost. And then, okay, he's got a rematch, which is like, oh, God, here we go. It's the rematch thing. But then he lost. And then guess what? He's got another rematch. And then he lost. And then he's got to earn his way to a rematch. And then he lost. So now you can't call it the Super Cena formula because he's winning matches to get opportunities. Like now he's in the opportunity to be able to do the Money in the Bank. But I'm not putting my money when we do our picks on him to win Money in the Bank because he's not going to face Bobby Lashley again. I doubt it. I would rather see somebody else do it. Even if he does, I'm not confident he's going to beat Bobby because that would not be the money that I will put in as we're making our road live TV to SummerSlam. You keep your money in Big Fish's Bobby Lashley. So now I believe they're doing what they should have done with John Cena. And we've talked about this before I turn it over to you, KG. And you're giving that human factor because now you're going through the road of emotions to be able to get that opportunity. But just when you get there, you get knocked back down and you take the L again. Or if you get there, you're taking the L again. So you're no longer super, you're just the average Joe trying to get back to where you were, but you just have bad luck when you get there. So it's either John Cena done right.
I got two things to say on that. Well, two things to say, period. I know I'm gonna get fined for this, so I'm already got my card out to pay my fine.
Well, James has already burnt us to the ground and how much we're gonna owe, so we're already in the red.
That's what I do.
A little bit more because the boss BJ is watching, so I just got to say this. How about them Bucks, there, boy?
That was it.
Well, that was the first thing. That was the first. Hey, I got to take a dig at the balls,
something heavy. And then I set it all up like you're about to pull a James, and what do? Like now I got to take my shirt off.
No. We don't do that here.
No.
But I had to take a dig at the balls, BJ.
I mean, I got apron.
I had to take a dig at the balls.
You're not going to be the butcher of the blade tonight. No.
Well, can I pull my pants down and show it to the button?
No.
No. All right. God bless. Well,
but
at least I got my unicorn.
To the boss BJ, brother. Oh, we got a lot to talk about tomorrow, so I hope you ready. Because I oh my goodness, we got a lot to talk about. But and I like to put a bet on the finals too. We'll talk about that off air though. But this thing with Drew McIntyre, did it make him Cena-esque? In a way, but remember what we always say: when you got somebody that wins constantly, you start getting tired of that front runner. When you saw Cena win, he's being shoved down your throat. Same thing with Roman Reigns. He was being shoved down your throat. You hated him. He had to go through something that made him human. Come back, reinvent. Well, he didn't really reinvent. He just turned heel. And now everybody loves him. But think about this.
Trust me. That night and day from his Shield days.
Think about this. Let's, here we always go back to the Attitude Era, but I can go back even further. Think about during the Attitude Era, you had Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold. They all vied for the Intercontinental Championship, but only one man could hold it, and nobody ever held it for very, very long. It was not like a 2-year reign. You had people jumping up to challenge you, and that's where Drew McIntyre is right now. He's in that realm where he was on top, but what we always say, when you're on top for a minute, It gets stale. So you got to drop him down and build him back up. But what it's going to do, if you keep putting him in matches where he's competing, getting the opportunity, and losing, fighting again, getting the opportunity, what does that make him? That makes him the fan favorite. That makes him the one that crowds pop for. They mark out, and James has finished his bottle. Will you just lick the rim of it and be done with it? Squeeze it a little bit. But when fans are back in the building, fans are going to mark out for him because of that aspect. Because you got to go through the trials and tribulations. Everything is not peaches and cream. It's not always roses. You got to go through something that real life people, we can relate to that as real life people, because everything is not gravy for us. You know, you got some rocky roads, some tough hills to climb in life. Now he's got tough hills to climb. How does that relate to us? Because life is not easy for us.
Mm-hmm.
This works. This absolutely works.
Ben, I don't know why you want the sumo to go back in time, 1792. You need to go back to 1492.
He's talking about bourbon. He's not talking about.
I'm quite sure it was something drink related, but I mean, I'm just throwing an old joke out there. Thanks, James. See, you're too old to figure that part out.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I didn't have to know it specifically, but I figured after
because you're an ignorant motherfucker. So
after choking the crap out that bottle,
yeah, I had to make sure I got it all out of there.
Yeah,
I had to make sure that dead soldier was dead.
When we replay this, make sure you throw in the Jim Ross on it, because I think he killed him. So, all right. So, final question.
Hold on.
What? You got something? Oh God, you still got to talk too.
Hold on.
God bless.
First of all, to Ben, yes, I am a fan of 1792. Yes, I am. I prefer the small batch. I like the weeded version of it, but I prefer the small batch. 1792 has a great line, and if you haven't had it, or if you only had one or two of the line, you need to go ahead and invest in experimenting with some of the other ones. I would suggest that to you. Now, KG stole a little bit of my thunder, because when he started talking about Roman Reigns, I was going to say to you that it wasn't necessarily John Cena done right. It was more so Roman Reigns the same. And when I say that, I mean they are pushing Drew McIntyre down our throats just like they did with Roman Reigns. The only difference is he's starting on a losing streak, and got to that match with Bobby Lashley where he lost his rights to become the SmackDown or the Universal Champion. Whereas Roman Reigns had the leukemia thing that took him out, and he had to change up. So it's pretty much the same formula as they did with Roman Reigns, more so than they did with John Cena, in my opinion.
Sure.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. All right, okay. I appreciate that. I'm glad you could have 35 cents in the mix. So here's the extra addendum question. And we'll go for you two guys. We'll do Raw first. If we remove Bobby Lashley and MVP, I think that's all we need to remove. Well, maybe Drew. If we pull Drew out as well, who do you think, once we go live on the Raw roster, will get the biggest pop? Day one. Removing those two, because, I mean, by manufacturer's default, that'd be big. So who do you think is going to get the biggest pop on Raw? Male or female, doesn't matter.
I don't know. I really don't know. Probably Bianca. I would say Bianca.
Okay. But she's SmackDown.
She is? Yeah, okay. That messed that up.
But there's your answer for SmackDown. I'm going to say Bray Wyatt. I'm going to say The Fiend.
He is due back.
Yeah,
you think they're holding for a live show?
There's your pop right there.
I figured you would say Nia Jax, or it could be the Straight Jacket and Natty.
They're going to get a pop, but it's not going to be bigger than The Fiend. But see, Nia Jax, we here at the Sideline Junkies Saturday Night Wrestlemaniacs, we love Nia Jax. We love her to the ends of the world and back. But outside of this realm that we're in right now, a lot of people don't like her because they're asshats, but they don't like her. You're entitled to your opinion. Doesn't mean I have to like it. They give her a lot of shit. So, she's not going to get a real big pop like that because she's a quote-unquote unsafe worker.
If you're a heel, just ask Baron Corbin. You need to be the heel.
Well, Baron Corbin at one time was the best heel in the business, and then they buried him.
No, well, they did, but also
I wouldn't say they buried him.
Well, they did put the weight of their failures on his shoulders, but that also helped him become a more stronger heel. So they almost Triple H, in essence, Triple H'd him without getting, the curtain call happening.
But then that goes back to your statement earlier. You got to break once they're up, you got to break them down to bring them up, to build them up again.
But he was down.
Yeah.
He was mid-card when they did that. He wasn't at the level that he is now, where he's strong enough to go through a storyline that's building upon his character with Shinsuke Nakamura and losing, which I don't understand how you lose being King of the Ring without King of the Ring happening.
Well, there was a time when the King of the Ring had to defend that title. That was an actual title at one time.
Yeah,
so they're just going back. They're just throwing it back to that, and I'm sure they're going to have another King of the Ring.
Oh yeah,
at some point. So I mean,
and that'll probably be a number one contenders tournament to face Shinsuke Nakamura.
No, see, here's the problem: when they do King of the Ring, they do it as a TV show. That's a pay-per-view.
Yep.
Don't ever water down something as great as King of the Ring, because we had King Harley Race, King Macho Man.
What, like they did
Macho King.
Bash?
Who else, KG? What's his name, KG? Just to make James mad. What's his name?
King Mabel.
Look
or King Mabel.
King Mabel. You
King Mabel, rest his soul. That was a big boy right there.
That was
a big boy.
That was a reason. That was a filler pay-per-view, but it was a pay-per-view where you got to see everybody.
Shout out to Men on a Mission.
I don't like it.
But the King of the Ring was originally made so that it could build up people. It's to try to give them a push. So I mean,
not everything's a classic. They just calling stuff. That's this classic. It's that classic. And classic until it happens.
Well, Shinsuke could get a pop. Shinsuke could get a pretty big pop the way they're doing his entrance now. So yeah, he could get a pretty decent pop.
His gyrations, let him go and do whatever the heck he's doing.
Hey, that's what he's been doing. He's been doing that since he reinvented himself in New Japan. Yep. He's been doing that for a while. So I mean, he's just getting back to it really, because it used to be worse than that.
But wait, hold on. How come when I do gyrations like that, I'm being called into the HR office?
Because you normally don't have any clothes on.
You could be right.
So let's put
you wearing some tight pants and you got your package showing.
Yeah.
Hey.
You got them tight uniform pants on.
You stretch out. I'm like, over there. That's what How did you ring my doorbell with all the packages in your hand, baby? I got the goods. But let's go. Come on.
Look, I cracked the door open for you. You didn't have to kick it
Unicorn. So on the AEW side of things, if we remove Kenny Omega, we remove Chris Jericho, who's going to garner the biggest pop?
Easy. Orange Cassidy.
I was thinking MJF.
I would have said Cody, new daddy. That always gets everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So AEW has a little bit more in the mix, easy to pick. I still think on the SmackDown side of things, a live audience, Roman Reigns. Yeah.
No.
Actually, no. I would be surprised if Sami Zayn, and that's crazy behind, they just murk out for Sami Zayn as well.
Keith Lee.
But what is old theme? Old theme. Don't come in there with that new style.
No. Keith Lee.
We need OG Keith Lee.
Yeah. I'm hoping he comes back soon.
All right. So while we're about at the 1 hour and 50-minute mark, I've managed to keep all my clothes on. Only thing you got to see was my unicorn. Woo! Unicorn. Which I understand. I don't even have a green screen up, but I may still have that mode enabled or something like that.
Because no, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it.
He's got just unicorn powers. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say. I'm not. No, because I'm gonna get me too'd, and I'm not. No.
Ben said, Hangman Page for AEW. I can see that too.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I can agree with that, no doubt.
So since it's time to wrap this up, B, you can hopefully watch us live. You can also catch us on the YouTubes. And before we got into the lives and the YouTubes and the Skypes and all that other fun, crazy stuff, because of a pandemic that left us no choice but to actually get technically inclined, we were a podcast show. And through that, our home base is Anchor. And then you could find us on all the other casts and boxes and pictures and beams and apples and whatever the hell. Oh, you got a notebook that says all that?
Of course I do.
You got it written down?
Of course.
I guess we'll let him talk about it. I'll just grouping it all into podcasts. But
it don't work like that.
Just to pay the bills that we don't get paid. You go ahead and run down the list of everything.
Okay. Here we go.
And action.
You got Anchor, TuneIn, Podchaser, Podtail, Spotify, Podbean, Owltail, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, the Podcaster app, Hubhopper, Castbox, Google Play, and Verbal.
So that's pretty much all podcast places. So you have no reason as to why you cannot find some of our older episodes from, you saw how crazy we got. We actually have gotten worse in some instances. Most of it's James, but some of it could be KG, and some of it, I don't even understand how we got to different destinations in a wrestling show that revolved around non-wrestling related topics. But you can take a listen to some of those craziness, as well as catching up on the other side of the coin, which is the Sideline Junkies proper. And we know tomorrow, as you talked about with the big boss, is the Sunday Rise. So if you want to give them a preview on the sports side of things, are you guys covering the Olympics too, out of curiosity?
Yes, sir, we are. We have ourselves an Olympic correspondent.
Oh, snap. Is that a correspondent smoking weed too? Just asking. I just want to know if y'all are covering that. That's a hotbed topic.
Everybody light up a joint for her.
Hopefully you watched the, I think it was a Today Show where she did her interview.
Yeah.
If you haven't, make sure you guys take a look at that and see. It's kind of mixed messages on that one, but I don't know.
And it is on YouTube if anybody wants to look at it. So.
Yep. And then people have been bringing out correlation between her situation and a nice little swimmer from Baltimore named Michael Phelps.
Totally different. Like,
so some people, like I said, are trying to make that correlation. So
nope.
I'm just hoping you guys cover that, talk about it.
Myself and the boss BJ, we talked at length yesterday. about the situation, the different sides of it. We were going to do a special Freestyle Friday. Things got late, scheduling conflicts. So, we put it in the can. We waited. We had things recorded. I mean, we were doing the damn thing. But we had to put it in the can. So we're going to do it live tomorrow. Our Olympic correspondent, I've spoken to her, and she says she wants to jump on. She wants to say a few words, and she can be introduced to those of you in podcast land. Because we got to get into that. We got to get into, now the finals matchup is up, and we know who's going to the NBA finals. It's Suns versus Bucks. It's going to be a barn burner. I mean, most people say it's a snooze fest. It's going to be a barn burner because, you got Devin Booker versus Giannis. So we got that. NFL fines Washington football team $10 million for, the conduct after the investigation. Slap on the wrist. That's like fining one of us $10.
Wait a minute. Washington has $10 million? Just saying.
What you mean? The Washington football team is worth multi-million dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Just trying to figure it out. Just trying to figure out where that money came from.
I'm glad the boss BJ put his bet in already. We'll discuss what we betting on, because
we putting you over, BJ. We putting you over, man. Putting the show over right now.
But that has to be discussed. We got a lot of things to jump into tomorrow. I won't give all the time. I'll try to coordinate. It won't be in the morning because I'm not getting up early. The hell with that.
So, I guess it'll be well, it is 4th of July too. Not that y'all celebrating or cooking out. We know you out there fornicating all day. So
it's Sunday.
Like the Sunday evening nightcap. I don't know what time.
It's Sunday. It's just a regular run-of-the-mill Sunday.
All right, man. Make sure you put your drawers on when you get done. Take a shower or something. Freshen up.
Fuck with your drawers.
I don't know. I'm with you. I'm just trying to take my shirt off. You over here trying to go free it.
You been trying to go.
Freestyle Sundays up in here.
Hey.
That's why he's going to HR, because he's doing, Shinsuke Nakamura stuff.
Hey, you gotta free you gotta free the beast, baby.
All right. No, you don't need to get his Will Chamberlain on. That's what get him a beating. For real.
Hey. Don't hate
on
him.
He's doing it. He's doing it 10,000 times with one woman. not with 10,000 women.
Oh,
if that's
unless they bring in somebody in, I don't know.
We definitely need to wrap this show up.
They might make it a three-way match, triple threat, three-way dance.
You ain't got to get pinned to lose your title.
It sound like you over there trying to book. You in the corner with the camera.
Hey, I do have the headset on. I can be the pencil up in here.
Talking about, I got you, Paige. I got you.
I will be the pencil up in here.
Hey, look, good old ring light do you justice.
Oh my goodness! So clearly, this is that point to where we have nothing else to talk about, and the rambling has begun as we try to at least get to the 2-hour mark. But, it's official. We have.
Hey, BJ, check my contract, man. Check my contract.
Standards and practices have already complained. So we are doing our job, thoroughly doing our job at this point. If S&P is coming down on the boss, which is good to know. So if you want to watch a tamer, not as sexually inclined show, that's everything else that's coming up this week. But if you want to get Jim
Cornette can talk about his sex life on his show, we can talk about ours.
Well, he's got more money.
That's all right.
Barely.
That's all right.
So if you want to get into the meat potatoes,
Ben, don't forget that 6-pack challenge.
You know what? I'm gonna show y'all how we gonna hurry up and get off camera. That's it. I can't
right,
deal with it anymore.
I gotta go run the gauntlet.
Thank you for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Diversify your bonds.
Konnichiwa, bitches.